You're listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner.
Hey guys, it's Zoom the TBT, and we're really excited. We have the Bellarmine United. I cannot wait to get into this. We have a full house tonight. Vance Hall, the point guard, coaching staff George Suggs and Al Davis, and your GM Nick Holmes. Gentlemen, great to have you on. And I won't even ask how you're doing, because there's so many of you all talk amongst each other. Let's get right into this. Nick, can you tell me how this team came together?
Certainly. I think we have a lot of guys that are still hungry to play. We were a team that a lot of these guys that were on the team were Division II, and now we're Division I. And I think there's some, guys that want to prove something still at the next level. We have multiple guys that have went from Division II and played overseas and played pro ball. We watched a little bit of what happened last year when the TBT was at the Ville at Freedom Hall, and we honestly we didn't like it very much. We saw a lot of teams on our home floor, and we weren't playing, and we wanted to make sure we weren't going to let that happen again without us having a chance to fight for a region title of our own.
Definitely. And it's kind of interesting because you guys, and people don't maybe know this who are TBT fans and not college basketball fans or aren't familiar with Bellarmine, but that actually is your home floor. Like, you guys have Freedom Hall. That is Bellarmine's home floor, no longer the Cardinals' home floor. George, watching last year, obviously, and getting involved this year, how was recruiting this team? What was your sales pitch to get your team together?
Well, I think the sales pitch is really easy for guys who are associated with Bellarmine. Man, I know my time as a player. I know Al's time as a player. I played with both him and Vance. It's special being on those teams, and Nick knows the same experience, having been on a national championship team. But I think anybody would want a chance to be back part of that again. Anybody would want a chance to be in a locker room with those same guys that really valued each other, really valued competing, and I think that's the most exciting part about it, and probably the most exciting part for everybody involved, is that we get a little piece of that again, right? As we get to be a part of being a player, be a part of being a coach for Bellarmine basketball in a pretty unique way now, and I think we're all really excited for that.
Al, going to you for a minute. Obviously, this team is coming together on their home floor under the banner in Louisville. How supportive has the school been in helping you organize this? I assume that they've really helped make this happen.
Oh yeah, no, they've been super supportive, almost too much, to an extent of asking who we're gonna play. When is the game times and all of this, and obviously the TBT is we haven't got through that process yet. But no, all of the biggest supporters have been our donors, from a standpoint of trying to support our operational budgets, and just having all of those people that are tied into our program itself. So yeah, no, the university, our donors, the city of Louisville in general, everybody's excited to see Bellarmine basketball, and we're looking forward to owning Louisville, because we've done that for a while, and we're going to continue to do that.
Well, if you want to own Louisville, I think you have to fight 17 other ACC teams. So if they go 3-17 in the ACC, I think most people own the city of Louisville throughout the Atlantic Coast Conference, but that's not today's problem. So Vance, when you played, obviously you played in the pre-NIL era, correct?
Yes.
So this is all the advantages of playing in the NCAA tournament, except at the end, instead of getting a net, there's $1 million. Is that an added incentive, I guess?
Oh, for sure. I mean, anytime you get to play for $1 million, that's always added incentive.
Yeah, it should be pretty interesting. So Nick, when you played at them, when you won the D2 national title, was Freedom Hall your stadium even back then?
No, we were on campus at Knights Hall, and then we moved to Freedom Hall during COVID because of spacing.
Okay.
So Knights Hall is a little more not at the seating capacity. So with the COVID restrictions, we actually moved to Freedom Hall, and then we stayed there a couple years.
Okay. Oh, are you guys going to be playing at Freedom Hall now still for a few years?
Al?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. No, we're gonna hold that off, man. There's I'm not gonna answer that one. That's TBD. But I will say,
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, like you said, our fans are super excited, and the only thing I'll say to this is, Knights Hall is very special to all of us. So much that in my 2 years that I played at Bellarmine, I never lost a game in Knights Hall. So I was 33-0. So
Oh,
something special about that.
oh,
Yeah. So
got it, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it. So in other words, it's a winning stadium, unlike the Yum Center. So they actually win games at Knights Hall. Got it. Okay, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Okay, Nick, obviously having a guy with championship experience at the top of the GM, what wisdom can you pass along to your youthful charges here, as you organize this team? Like, what advice do you have for your team as they chase to get 6 wins in 3 weeks?
Sure. I mean, the good thing about the TBT is you're not the GM of a bunch of 16, 17, 18, 20-year-olds. You know, everybody's a grown man that's playing in this, and you better be, you know, watching the competition. I think the thing that we've done is we've been very selective of the guys we've put on the team. We had people, won't name names, asked us to add somebody else on our roster, and we've looked and we're like, they're not going to fit the way we want to play, the things that we want to do, and the way we want to do it. I don't know if you've seen Bellarmine basketball play. We play a little bit different than everybody else. And so we want guys that fit our scheme, and that way we can come in. You know, you're not going to have 3 months to practice to get everything right. So we want guys that can come in, fit what we do within a couple weeks time frame, within a training camp before we're ready to rock and roll. So that was the biggest thing that we put together from myself, Al, Vance, Braden Hobbs, another one of our national champion, and George, that we wanted guys that we would know would fit in right away and understand what we want to get accomplished.
Got it. Got it. So talking about getting things accomplished and having people come in with a system in place, that leads to be a question to George. When you're setting up the schemes for this, like, what kind of style of play can we expect from United? And also, like, is there a shared experience that makes it easier for you to draw upon certain sets, certain go-to plays? Like, is there sort of a crib sheet you can draw from that makes an abbreviated training camp a little easier on a TBT team?
It does. I think looking back to my time when I was at Bellarmine, we weren't always the biggest team. We weren't always the fastest team. We were always super skilled. We were the most skilled team on the floor. And I think that, it's a coach's dream. The playbook's endless when you got guys that can pass it, shoot it, bounce it, at 5 positions on the floor. And I think that's a big part of all of our conversations in terms of building this team and what we want it to look like and style of play. It's all started with, we need guys at every position that are skilled, because that gives everybody some freedom. And we're probably going to look a little bit different than a lot of the teams in the TBT. But I know we more than make up for it with our skill level and what that means for what our style of play is going to look like.
Definitely. So it sounds like it's going to be maybe a little more methodical, would be fair to say.
Not necessarily methodical. I think we're going to be able to space the floor at a really high level. We're going to have guys that can shoot it everywhere you look, and our ability to pass the ball is going to impress some people.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Coach Davis, I'm looking at this too, and looking at this roster. It's not a nice roster, but also one thing that's interesting is TBT teams are notoriously usually pretty small. And so are mid-major teams. Middies are also usually small. You are blessed with a lot of size. Like, this is a big team. Talked about how that can help you in like tight moments and eliminating. Like, how is having that kind of size an advantage in TBT, you think?
Oh yeah, for sure. So for offensively, just to kind of piggyback off what George said, offensively, all of those guys, all the guys that we have, Braden, Vance, AJ Packer, some of the guys, just to list a few names, man, these guys can stretch the floor offensively, and that then plays on the defensive end. Now we don't have to worry about matchups from as far as guarding guys. We can switch 1 through 5. We can double all things. We can get our hands, get our hands on ball, deflections. So no, we're really excited about the size, and to be completely honest, the way we play, our motion style, our free flowing style of play that we have, when you can just plug 6'7", 6'5", 6'4", and all of those guys are capable of putting it on the floor, capable of cutting, capable of being athletic at the rim. Obviously you can see why we're really excited to compete in the TBT. So
Yeah, I like that answer a lot. And Vance, the thing that's interesting about a TBT team is rookie TBT teams, first year TBT teams always have a little bit of a learning curve, which is always interesting. So you're gonna have the keys from a bunch of guys who have played high level basketball. You and I guess Dylan Penn will split the keys, I guess. But you guys all have the keys of a rookie TBT team. Like, have you thought about like what this is going to mean as a first time team playing this event? I mean, you've played high level ball, but have you ever played anything like this event with the Elam ending? Like, is that something you're used to?
I mean, I don't think it's really going to change anything for us, or I mean, it could be a learning curve. I mean, you never know, but at the end of the day, we're playing ball. Like we're trying to come out here and make some noise. Like we hear all this hype about the Ville and it's their region, and we hear all this hype about Kentucky and it's their region. Keep overlooking us. Keep overlooking Bellarmine. Like that's another reason I wanted to get into this because I'm tired of Bellarmine being underrated. What about fucking Bellarmine?
Yeah, exactly. What about fucker Bellarmine? I mean, it's funny. I was watching Wintertime, and the whole fuck Boston BLA stuff was probably some of the funnier moments I've ever seen in television. May Jerry West, rest in peace. So yeah, talk about a little bit of the rivalries here. So like Kentucky is known for bourbon horse racing and basketball, maybe bats, I guess, but really bourbon horse racing and basketball. So you got UK, you got Louisville, two very large teams, one of which is pretty successful and one of which is Louisville. But like what does that mean to try to get the state behind you? Like, I mean, Nick, like how much fun would it be to get matched up with Louisville on your shared home floor?
I think we'll relish the opportunity. Um, growing up, all these guys on this call, myself included, we played against Louisville all summer. We know these guys. They know us. They know the way we play. We know how they play. It's totally different. But when that ball goes up, they're like, those boys can play, and we know those boys can play too. But we always will be excited to play Louisville. I mean, I bet we played them 15, 20 times all summer long. They might have one or two guys that shoot 30 times. Well, we kind of pass it around a little bit more than they did. Sometimes that's to our advantage.
They wouldn't have anybody, Russ Smith, that would shoot 30 times a game. That doesn't make sense at all. I don't understand that at all. So I'm looking at this region, and let's go back to you, I guess, George. This is a pretty interesting region. I mean, we're gonna call you guys co-hosts because it's your stadium. So we got the host Louisville and the co-host Bellarmine United. And we've got a bunch of non-alumni teams. We just interviewed Run DFW. They're going to be a really fun team, actually. Sideline Cancer is going deep in this. They have some roster churn. Some guys have left, some guys have come back. DRC is always kind of interesting thing. Fredette could have loaded team, and Team Diesel's what's left over of a very dominant Gutter Cat gang that did very well last year in the Ville region lane. So, like, what I would normally say is it would probably behoove them normally to match you guys up in a Louisville Bellarmine battle for the city right off the bat. But with this many non-alumni teams, could you guys get a different seed break? Like George, are we looking at a situation where actually they might give you a more favorable path because they don't want someone who actually brings paying fans to get in that game early? Like, could you see yourselves being on opposite sides of the bracket to try to see if we can get you guys to the final?
Well, I would love to see how the city of Louisville turns out for a regional championship between Bellarmine and Louisville. That's for sure. In terms of seeding, this has been the thing. We've got a little bit of a chip on our shoulder. We're mostly Division II players. There's a couple guys who've been Division I here on our team, but we're going to be excited to play whoever we get. We're going to be ready to go. And I think all these guys, doesn't matter if it's the Ville, doesn't mean if it's you can throw whoever out there in that first round game. We're going to be ready to go. And particularly if we can get a couple wins under our belt and get our confidence going, I think it's going to be pretty hard to stop us.
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be really interesting because the thing is, and we've been pretty open about this, is TBT, and they'll tell you this if you talk to them, is TBT is like 80% basketball, 20% professional wrestling. Like the matchups matter, the game matters. Like this is entertainment. Let's be very clear. So we've got some great teams. Team Diesel's got Shaq. So the social media stuff is there, but social media stuff doesn't put actual butts in seats. The fans put butts in seats.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some great teams. I mean, Sideline has a great following. They've gone deep in this before. They've made all the way to the final during the bubble year. DRC's been in this forever. They always have really quality teams. Fredette or the money team has always been a fun team. But like, it'll be interesting to see like where they put you guys because it's going to be a tough team to see because there's such a flat seating. Like I'll assume Ville will probably be an easy number one, and Team Diesel will probably be number two, and after that, it's going to be a crapshoot for the seating. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with any of this stuff, so it could be easily match up. So Al, when is camp?
Yeah, so our training camp, we will, and you are referring to our training camp, correct? I don't want to.
Yeah, I'm not referring to a Boy Scout camp. No, I'm not. I don't want to know where the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts are meeting up. No.
I'm a cue you in, man. I'm at Bellarmine, man. We have a lot of kids camps here, man. So I'm 4 days in on kids camps. We have 270 kids, and I'm losing my mind. So I'm ready for Friday so we can send these kids home. But
you know
no.
what kids camps are. You know what kids camps are great for? They're great for birth control. Let's be very, very serious. It's like I don't need any of these little bastards at home. It's like kids camps. The next thing you know, you're getting a vasectomy and
yeah. But
oh man, yeah.
it wasn't.
Anyway, so what's your training camp?
Yeah, so our training camp, we will start July 8th to 10th will be optional. It's gonna allow our guys to kind of get in and get, individual workouts in, very similar, to what we have. And then July 11th will be mandatory, and then we'll go July 11th through the 20th, obviously, the game day. So that is what our training camp will look like. We'll have various deals where we'll do some individual instruction. We'll do some stuff in the weight room, some cardio stuff with the Versa climbers. I don't want to scare our guys away, but yeah, we are looking to the training camp just to get guys, back in the game shape. And I know some of these guys are coming from overseas, but just kind of in the shape of our style of play. So we're looking forward to the training camp for sure.
Definitely. Vance, I always like to talk to the players about what they're doing now, and you're playing the TBL for the Derby City Bandits. Correct me if I'm right. Derby City Bandits.
Derby City Distillers. I am not anymore.
There we go.
Did not play this year. That was last year.
Okay, what was it like playing in the TBL?
I mean, it was fun. It was an opportunity to play. I mean, there's some good high level basketball players in there. But like I said, it was just an opportunity to play here in my hometown, make a little money doing it, keep my job as well. So I jumped at the opportunity.
Okay. What's your day job? Since you're somebody that went pro and you actually were. This somebody always talks about the guys going pro and things other than sports. You did both. You did pro in some other sports and sports, which makes you a dual threat. What do you do during the day, man?
Work for Prime Hydration and Alumni Nutrition.
Prime Hydration. There you go. That's something we could all use after watching you guys beat the host school, hopefully. Nick, obviously, these are a hard thing to TBT is a bit of a money pit. So it was a hard thing to fund. How much of your sponsors and alum helped out with that?
Almost 100% of it.
That's awesome.
We have great alumni. We have great basketball alumni that are some of the most successful people in their career, their field. Multiple. I think it's a credit to Bellarmine basketball and what we're about. And once you finish the program, the ability, if you want to go on and continue play basketball like Vance did, like Braden did, like Jeremy did, or you want to go move into your career, you're prepared to do that. And we have a lot of basketball alumni specifically that have helped fund. Even if they're not playing, they're still a part of this through the funding and getting us the financials we need to make sure that we have everything good to go for camp and getting travel and all the things to make sure that we have a quality team on the court for game one.
Definitely. Okay, so I guess this will be whoever wants it, but we always say basically that this is a hobby for me in charge, and he approaches it from the G League side. I approach it from college basketball side. And anybody who's ever watched our show or listened knows I am the world's biggest New York-based Memphis fan in the world. I love the Memphis Tigers, always have. They actually, I think, just dropped out today. Their team wasn't able to organize, which is a real bummer for me. But I have hated Louisville more than anything in my entire life. I love when they lose. So the last couple of years of them winning 3 conference games has just been delightful for me. So again, I want to announce on the show that ZoomTheTBT always puts a bounty of alcohol on whoever beats our least favorite team, and we will be buying a bottle or two of Mr. and Mrs. Bourbon to anybody that can knock off the owner of Mr. and Mrs. Bourbon, Russ Smith. So who should I be delivering this to when you guys win?
I'll take it.
No one wants the ball. Nick will take it. So
Give it to me.
Nick,
Give it to me.
okay, Nick, how would you toast beating Louisville? I mean, you could just ask 17 ACC teams for advice, but how would you make it more unique? Because so many people have beaten Louisville the last couple of years. How could you make it more unique in your toast?
It's a great loaded question. Happy to answer this one. I think the last couple of years, it's been interesting to say the least. It's made Bellarmine basketball a little more popular in the city. We got some new fans over it. They had some things in their program they probably don't wish to repeat. And I'll probably toast it to their new coach, Pat Kelsey, to see if he can turn it around. And I got to be a little bit nice to my guy, Pat Kelsey, because we did go to the same high school. So they're doing something right, which they haven't done in the last couple of years by that hire of Pat Kelsey. So I know I'm a little nice on my bounty, but going forward, I think that program's in the right hands because I don't think it got, I don't think they had any hands before. So they got some good hands, and Coach Kelsey's got a squad that they put together. So they'll be ready, and I'll toast to Coach Kelsey and a little success for him in the upcoming year.
You said they had no hands. That is amazing. We're going to go with that. That's awesome. We'll have Russ on hopefully at some point to just give me grief because he'll just say that Louisville owns Memphis, which is probably completely accurate if we're being completely honest. I think I still see Russ Smith in my nightmares. Okay, guys, it was really a pleasure to have you. Vance Hall, point guard, Nick Holmes, GM, George Suggs, head coach, Al Davis, assistant coach. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on Zoom to TBT.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Hope you enjoyed listening to Zoom the TBT with Charge and Hayner. Subscribe to YouTube, follow on Twitter, and give us your money.